The vast chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with whispers as 12 distinct species of aliens discussed the latest report. Earth had finally achieved faster-than-light travel, triggering the ancient protocols for first contact. Commander Taehyun, a tall being with iridescent skin that shifted between blue and purple, stood at the center of the roundtable. "It seems we can no longer ignore the humans," he said, his translator converting his melodic language into the standard galactic tongue. "They have crossed the threshold." Science Director Myung's crystalline appendages flickered with subtle light patterns, a sign of her displeasure. "They are still primitive. Their history is filled with violence, their decisions based on emotions rather than logic. They will be disruptive to our harmony." Administrator Daehoon, the oldest member of the council, raised a tentacle for attention. "The protocols are clear. All species that achieve FTL travel must be acknowledged and evaluated for membership." The council members reluctantly agreed. The humans would be invited to send representatives to the Galactic Hub, a massive space station orbiting a neutral star system where diplomatic affairs were conducted. 3 months later, the human vessel Horizon docked at the hub. The ship was bulky and inelegant by galactic standards, its technology clearly less advanced than even the most basic alien crafts. The delegation that emerged consisted of 5 humans led by Dr. Jaiwo Park, a woman with short black hair and keen eyes that missed nothing. "Welcome to the hub," Commander Taehyun said through his translator. "We are the Galactic Council, overseeing peace and progress among the stars." Dr. Park smiled, a gesture that several alien species found unsettling. "We are honored to be here. Humanity has long wondered if we were alone in the universe." The formal reception was tense. Alien delegates studied the humans with a mixture of curiosity and condescension. The humans were shown to quarters designed to approximate Earth conditions, though the gravity was slightly off, making them stumble occasionally. During the diplomatic dinner, strange foods were served on floating platters. The humans tried everything despite their obvious discomfort with some of the textures and tastes. They asked questions constantly, showing an eagerness that many council members found excessive. "Your species is young," noted Myung, her voice like chiming bells. "Most civilizations spend thousands of years developing before achieving FTL capabilities." "Humans are adaptable," replied Dr. Park. "We learn quickly." "Yet you still wage war among yourselves," observed another delegate, a gaseous entity contained in a hovering sphere. "We are working to move beyond our violent past," said Dr. Park calmly. "No species is perfect, I imagine." This comment caused a ripple of discomfort among the aliens. The implication that their civilizations had flaws was considered impolite. As the evening progressed, Administrator Daehoon mentioned the great mystery almost casually. "Even our combined knowledge has limits. For example, the predecessor signal has remained unsolved for over 12,000 years." "Predecessor signal?" asked Dr. Park, her interest clearly piqued. "A transmission of unknown origin," explained Taehyun. "It appears to contain vast information, but no species has decoded more than fragments." The humans exchanged glances. "May we examine it?" Dr. Park asked. Several council members made sounds that the translator rendered as laughter. "Of course," said Myung with what humans would interpret as a patronizing tone. "Though I doubt your species will see what our greatest minds have missed for millennia." The next day, the humans were given access to the signal data in a small research room. The aliens expected them to give up quickly, but instead, the human team became completely absorbed. They requested permission to bring more specialists from Earth. Within weeks, a larger human team arrived: mathematician Hyunki Lee, linguist Sora Kim, artist Juno, historian Nari, and surprisingly, 13-year-old Do-hyun, who had a special talent for pattern recognition. "This is most irregular," protested Myung when she learned a child was part of the research team. "Do-hyun sees patterns others miss," explained Dr. Park. "We value different perspectives." The council members watched with a mixture of amusement and confusion as the humans set up their workspace. Unlike the methodical aliens, they covered walls with drawings, played music, argued loudly, and sometimes made decisions based on what they called hunches. "How can they work like this?" wondered Taehyun as he observed the chaotic human approach. What began as an afterthought allowing humans to examine the signal soon became the focus of intense interest as the newcomers began making connections no one had seen before. For the first time in thousands of years, there was progress on the great mystery, and it came from the most unexpected source, the emotional, impulsive, foolish humans. The observation chamber allowed the council members to watch the humans work without being noticed. Science director Myung spent more time there than she would admit to her colleagues, fascinated by the strange methods of these newcomers. The human team had transformed their assigned research space. Gone was the sterile order typical of scientific facilities across the galaxy. Instead, the walls were covered with colorful diagrams, handwritten notes, and printed images. Holographic projections of the signal floated in various configurations around the room, some broken into fragments, others layered with music, art, or mathematical formulas. "This makes no sense," Myung muttered as she watched young Do-hyun sitting cross-legged on the floor, playing with signal patterns as if they were toys. Below, mathematician Hyunki Lee was arguing with artist Juno. "The sequences don't follow any known mathematical pattern," Hyunki insisted, pointing at a floating projection. "Because it's not just math," Juno replied, manipulating the hologram with his hands. "Look at the visual rhythm when I arrange it this way. It's like a painting, not an equation." "Or both," suggested 13-year-old Do-hyun without looking up from his work. "Maybe the numbers make a picture." The adults paused, then scrambled to test this idea. Within minutes, they had rearranged the data, revealing what appeared to be a geometric shape that hadn't been visible before. In another corner, linguist Sora Kim played sections of the signal as sound while historian Nari closed her eyes to listen. "Play it again, but slower," Nari requested. When Sora adjusted the playback, both women's eyes widened. "That's similar to ancient Polynesian navigation chants," whispered Nari. Dr. Jaiwo Park moved between these groups, connecting ideas, asking questions, and occasionally stepping back to observe the whole. Unlike the specialized experts of the council races, she seemed comfortable with all aspects of the research. After 2 weeks of observation, Taehyun joined Myung in the chamber. "The council demands a progress report," he said. "Have the humans accomplished anything with their unusual methods?" Myung hesitated. "They've found patterns we missed. Nothing conclusive yet, but their approach is yielding results." "Impossible," Taehyun replied. "Our best minds have studied the signal for thousands of years." "Perhaps that's the problem," Myung said quietly. "We've been looking too long in the same way." Below them, the research team gathered for their daily meeting. Dr. Park stood at the center as each member shared their findings. "We've identified what might be emotional markers in the signal," reported Sora. "Similar to how human music conveys feelings through tempo and tone." The aliens watching exchanged glances. The concept of encoding emotions rather than just data was foreign to their scientific methods. "And look at this," said Do-hyun, projecting a new pattern he had discovered. "When I arrange the signal segments by color instead of frequency, it forms a spiral that matches ancient Earth shell patterns." "The Fibonacci sequence," breathed Hyunki. "It's using natural growth patterns as a framework." "I'm convinced now," said Dr. Park, looking at the assembled work. "This signal wasn't designed for purely logical beings. It requires intuitive leaps, emotional intelligence, and diverse perspectives to decode." Taehyun scoffed. "Emotional intelligence is a contradiction in terms." 2 days later, the humans requested a meeting with the council. The 12 alien representatives gathered in the grand chamber, their skepticism evident. Dr. Park and her team stood before them, surprisingly confident. "We believe we understand why the signal has remained unsolved," she began. "It's not designed to be decoded through logic alone." Murmurs filled the chamber. Myung's crystalline appendages flickered rapidly. "Explain," she demanded. "The signal contains layers," continued Dr. Park. "Mathematical, yes, but also artistic, musical, emotional, and seemingly random elements that aren't random at all. We believe it's a test not of technological advancement, but of holistic intelligence. We've confirmed similarities to patterns found across Earth cultures," added Nari. "Patterns that appear in our music, art, architecture, and even in nature itself." Most importantly, said Sora, we believe we've begun to understand the underlying communication system. It's based on relationships between concepts, not just symbols. The council members looked unimpressed, but Mayan leaned forward. Show us. The humans presented their findings, demonstrating connections between seemingly unrelated parts of the signal. They showed how playing certain sequences as music revealed patterns invisible in the data alone. They displayed visual representations that emerged only when the signal was processed through what they called right-brain thinking. We believe the signal was created by a species that thought more like humans than like current galactic civilizations, concluded Dr. Park. A species that valued emotional context alongside logical precision. That's impossible, stated Taehyun flatly. Advanced civilizations evolve beyond emotional thinking. Or perhaps, suggested Dr. Park gently, they evolved to integrate emotion and logic rather than discard one for the other. As the humans left the chamber, the council erupted in debate. No one noticed Mayan quietly downloading the humans' research to study privately. For the first time in centuries, she felt something like doubt about the superiority of the council's purely logical approach. Something important had been overlooked, something the emotional, chaotic humans had somehow found. The council chamber had never been so divided. 3 weeks had passed since the humans presented their initial findings, and the 12 alien species found themselves in uncomfortable territory, uncertainty. Some members dismissed the human theories as primitive fantasy, while others were cautiously intrigued. Science Director Mayang stood alone in her personal quarters, manipulating a holographic replica of the human research room. She had secretly recreated their chaotic workspace to better understand their methods. Her crystalline appendages glowed with soft blue light as she studied the connections they had made. It cannot be, she whispered to herself, but the evidence was becoming harder to ignore. Meanwhile, the human team had made another breakthrough. Artist Juno had been experimenting with the signal patterns late one night when he noticed something unexpected. It's musical, he told the team the next morning, unable to contain his excitement. Not just any music, it follows patterns similar to ancient Earth pentatonic scales. Sara, the linguist, immediately connected this to her own work. That explains why some sequences seemed familiar. Many ancient human languages evolved alongside musical traditions. Dr. Park called for silence as young Do-hyun stepped forward with a tablet. The boy had been unusually quiet for days, focused intensely on his own project. I found something, he said simply, projecting his work for all to see. On the screen was a complex arrangement of signal fragments displayed as visual patterns rather than data. What are we looking at? Asked Hyunki, squinting at the display. Cave paintings, replied Do-hyun. I compared the signal patterns to human art throughout history. These match prehistoric cave paintings found on 6 different continents. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Historian Nari was the first to speak. Are you suggesting the signal creators knew about human art from thousands of years ago? That's impossible. Unless. Dr. Park began, her voice barely above a whisper, unless they were there. The door slid open unexpectedly. Science Director Mayang stood in the entrance, her crystalline form shimmering with unusual intensity. It was unprecedented for a council member to visit the research area directly. I wish to speak with you, she said, her translator giving her voice a mechanical flatness that couldn't hide her agitation. The humans exchanged glances. Of course, replied Dr. Park. Once they were alone, Mayang revealed her reason for coming. I have been studying your methods privately. Your results cannot be explained by chance. Something about your approach is yielding results where our methods failed for millennia. Dr. Park nodded. We think we know why. The signal wasn't created by beings who think like the council races. It was created by beings who think like us, or whom we think like. Mayang's lights flickered in what the humans had learned was a sign of surprise. Explain. We believe the signal creators valued emotional intelligence alongside logical reasoning. The patterns contain mathematical precision, yes, but also artistic beauty, musical harmony, and emotional resonance. It's not just a message, it's an expression. Emotions are primitive, stated Mayang, though with less conviction than before. Are they? Or are they another form of intelligence one your civilizations have evolved away from? Before Myong could respond, an alarm sounded from the communication panel. Commander Taehyun's voice filled the room. Science Director, you're needed immediately. The human signal interactions have triggered something. They rushed to the main observation hall where the rest of the human team had been moved. On the massive central display, the predecessor signal was changing, reorganizing itself in response to the humans' attempts at communication. What did you do? Demanded Taehyun, his iridescent skin flashing with dark patterns of alarm. We tried communicating with it, explained Sora calmly. Not just analyzing it, but responding to it the way you would respond to art or music. The alien scientists watched in disbelief as the signal transformed, revealing new layers of information that had been inactive for thousands of years. It was waiting, whispered Hyunki in awe. Waiting for the right kind of response. In the days that followed, the council reluctantly assigned their best scientists to work alongside the human team. The combination proved powerful. Alien logical precision complemented human intuitive leaps. Myong found herself working closely with Dr. Park, their different approaches creating something neither could achieve alone. Your species was deemed foolish, Myong admitted one evening as they reviewed new signal components. Your emotions, your art, your unpredictability, we saw these as weaknesses. And now, asked Dr. Park. Now I wonder if we lost something important in our evolution toward pure logic. A month after their initial breakthrough, the human-alien team made their most significant discovery yet. Hidden within the interacting layers of the signal was a star map, coordinates to a location deep in uncharted space. Whatever the predecessors left for the galaxy, Dr. Park told the assembled council, they left it for species who could balance logic with emotion, science with art, analysis with intuition. They left it for those who could see beyond the data to the meaning. The council chamber erupted in debate once more. Some feared what might be found, others argued it was too dangerous to ignore. But as the arguments continued, one thing became clear: humanity had proven itself far more valuable than anyone had imagined. The foolish humans had found what the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy had missed. The Galactic Council spent 3 days in closed session debating the human discovery. Outside the chamber, Dr. Park and her team waited anxiously alongside Science Director Myong, who had become their strongest ally among the council members. They fear what we might find, Myong explained, her crystalline form glowing with subtle patterns of concern. The coordinates point to a region of space that has been avoided for millennia due to strange energy readings. Or perhaps they fear what it means that humans solved it, suggested Nari quietly. When the council finally emerged, their decision was announced by Administrator Daehoon. A joint expedition will travel to the coordinates. 3 council vessels and the human ship will make the journey together. Preparations began immediately. The human vessel Horizon was small and primitive compared to the sleek council ships, but the aliens were surprised by how quickly the humans modified their craft to incorporate new technologies offered by their galactic neighbors. 2 weeks later, the small fleet was ready for departure. Commander Taehyun would lead the council forces, with Myong serving as chief scientist. Dr. Park's team would travel aboard the Horizon, maintaining constant communication with the alien vessels. As the ships prepared to enter faster-than-light travel, young Do-hyun approached Dr. Park with a troubled expression. I think we're still missing something, he said. The signal wasn't just directions to a place. It was asking for something from us too. Dr. Park studied the boy's concerned face. What do you mean? Remember how it responded when we treated it like a conversation instead of a puzzle? I think when we reach the coordinates, we'll need to communicate again, not just observe. Dr. Park brought this insight to the joint command meeting. Taehyun dismissed it immediately. We are going to investigate an ancient site, not engage in artistic expression, he said firmly. But Myong supported the human perspective. The signal responded to their methods once before. We should be prepared for all possibilities. The journey took 8 days. As they approached the mysterious coordinates, all ship sensors detected massive energy signatures unlike anything in the galactic database. It appears to be some kind of structure, reported the alien technicians. Enormous in scale, at least the size of a small moon. Visual confirmation came moments later. Floating in the empty space was a perfectly spherical object that seemed to shift between solid matter and pure energy. Its surface moved like liquid metal, reflecting the stars around it in impossible patterns. "No wonder it was never discovered," whispered Hyunki. "It's somehow hiding in plain sight." As the ships approached, the sphere remained inactive. The Council vessels scanned it with their advanced technology while the humans observed from the horizon. After hours of analysis, Commander Taehyun was frustrated. "Our sensors cannot penetrate the outer layer. We detect no entrance points or communication systems." Dr. Park gathered her team. Do-hyun was right. "This isn't just a place, it's waiting for the right kind of approach." She turned to her colleagues. "What if we respond the same way we did to the signal?" Artist Juno smiled broadly. "We create something to communicate who we are." The humans worked quickly, creating a transmission that combined mathematical sequences with music, visual art, and emotional expressions. When Commander Taehyun learned of their plan, he objected strongly. "This is not a scientific approach. We cannot communicate with ancient technology through art." But Myung intervened. "The logical approach has failed. We must try something different." With reluctant permission, the humans sent their unique message toward the mysterious sphere. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then, the surface of the object began to shift, its liquid-like exterior rippling with new patterns that matched elements of the human transmission. "It's responding," breathed Sora, her eyes wide with wonder. Suddenly, a portion of the sphere's surface parted like an opening flower, revealing a passage large enough for a ship to enter. "It recognized us," said Dr. Park. "Or rather, it recognized our form of communication." The Council ships remained hesitant, their sensors detecting no danger but also unable to analyze what lay beyond the opening. After much debate, a compromise was reached. A small team would enter using a shuttle from the horizon, with representatives from both humans and Council races. Dr. Park led the human contingent, joined by Do-hyun, Sora, and Juno. Myung insisted on representing the Council, bringing 2 other alien scientists with her. Commander Taehyun remained outside with the fleet, ready to evacuate them if necessary. As their shuttle approached the opening, the team fell silent with anticipation. The passage seemed to bend reality around them, the walls shifting with colors and patterns that responded to their presence. "It's scanning us," realized Sora. "Not just our technology, but our thoughts, our emotions." When they emerged from the passage, they found themselves in an enormous central chamber that defied the external dimensions of the sphere. The space seemed infinite, with pathways of light extending in all directions. At the center floated a pulsing orb of pure energy, its surface dancing with familiar patterns, the same patterns found in the original signal. "This is it," whispered Dr. Park. "The repository of the predecessors." The orb expanded suddenly, enveloping them in light. Rather than feeling fear, the humans experienced a profound sense of welcome. Images began to form around them, not just visual displays but complete sensory experiences conveying information in ways none of them had imagined possible. Their discovery was beyond anything the galaxy had seen before, and it had opened only for the species that most of the galaxy had dismissed as foolish. The light surrounding the exploration team began to organize itself into distinct patterns. These weren't simply images but complete experiences, sights, sounds, feelings, and concepts transferred directly to their minds. Dr. Park felt tears streaming down her face without understanding why. Beside her, young Do-hyun watched with wide eyes, absorbing everything with a child's openness. "They're showing us their history," whispered Sora, her voice trembling with emotion. The predecessors had been a species unlike any in the current galaxy. They had evolved not just intelligence but a profound connection between logical thought and emotional understanding. Their civilization had reached its peak millions of years before any current species had achieved space travel. As the story unfolded around them, they learned that the predecessors had discovered something remarkable. Life itself was rare in the universe, but the potential for life existed in countless places. They had embarked on a great mission, seeding worlds across the galaxy with the building blocks of life, carefully designed to evolve intelligence. "They created us all," Myung realized, her crystalline form glowing with new colors as she processed this revelation. every species in the council, and humans too. But the story continued. The predecessors had not merely created life, they had done so with purpose. Each seeded world was given different conditions, encouraging unique evolutionary paths. Some favored logical processing, others emotional intelligence, others physical capabilities or specific sensory perceptions. It was an experiment, said Dr. Park. They wanted to see what forms of intelligence would emerge. The predecessors had not intended to interfere with their creation's development. Instead, they constructed this repository of knowledge to be discovered when the time was right, when a species emerged that could understand the true nature of intelligence itself. But why did they disappear? Asked Juno, the question that had been on everyone's mind. The answer came in another wave of experiences. The predecessors had not died out or been destroyed. They had evolved beyond physical form entirely, transcending into a state of existence beyond the comprehension of biological beings. Before departing, they had left this legacy, their understanding of the universe and life itself, but protected it with a key that only the right kind of mind could unlock. They were waiting for a species that balanced logic and emotion, realized Myung. That's why our purely logical approach failed. And why the signal responded to our art and music, added Sora. The central orb pulsed again, revealing the most important part of the message. The predecessors had discovered that the most successful form of intelligence in the universe was not the most logical or the most emotional, but the one that could integrate all aspects of understanding, reason and intuition, science and art, analysis and empathy. For hours, the team explored the repository, discovering knowledge that would transform their understanding of physics, biology, consciousness, and reality itself. The predecessors had left technologies beyond imagination, cures for diseases thought incurable, methods of space travel that would make the galaxy truly accessible. When they finally returned to their shuttle, they were changed. The alien scientists looked at their human counterparts with new respect. We have been wrong, admitted one of Myung's colleagues, a being made of intricate copper-colored filaments. For millennia, we believed that emotion was primitive, something to evolve beyond. And we humans often distrust pure logic, seeing it as cold and empty, responded Dr. Park. Perhaps we're all only half of what we could be. When they rejoined the fleet, the discoveries were transmitted back to the Galactic Council. The news spread quickly throughout the civilized systems. The revelation that all intelligent species had been created by the same ancient race and that humans had been the ones to unlock their legacy shook the galactic community to its core. 3 months later, the Galactic Council convened a historic session. Representatives from all member species gathered in the Great Chamber, with the human delegation given a position of honor that would have been unthinkable before. The discovery at the predecessor site has changed everything, began Administrator Daehoon. We must reconsider not just our understanding of our origins, but our definition of intelligence itself. Commander Taehyun, who had been among the most skeptical of humans, stood to address the assembly. I wish to formally acknowledge that I was wrong about humanity. What we saw as foolishness, their emotional reasoning, their artistic expression, their seemingly chaotic methods, was in fact a form of intelligence our civilizations had lost. Science Director Myung moved to stand beside Dr. Park. The predecessors created all of us with different strengths. The humans retained something many of us evolved away from, the integration of heart and mind. Together, we can be more than any of us could be alone. Dr. Park smiled as she looked around the chamber. The greatest gift the predecessors left wasn't their technology or knowledge. It was the revelation that true wisdom comes from balance, from embracing all forms of understanding. In the years that followed, the galaxy changed. Human art, music, and literature spread across alien worlds, while alien logic and science transformed Earth. Joint research teams made breakthroughs that neither species could have achieved alone. Young Do-hyun, now finishing his education, often thought about the message at the heart of the predecessor legacy, that the universe's greatest strength was diversity of thought, and that even the most advanced civilizations had something to learn from those they once considered foolish.